Microphone check 1 2. What is this? What's up, y'all? This is your boy DJ Mad Scientist, and yes, this is the Hot Topics Mad Scientist Hot Topics Show. It's what I do every Wednesday right here on my YouTube channel, Mad Scientist. Every Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. ish. And I say that because I'm notoriously late, but I'm getting better and better. Today we started at 6:02, 6:03. So I'll probably finish at 7:02, 7:03. But we do this every week, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for those who are international or out of the state of California. Do this every week on Wednesday where I talk about the hottest topics. And due to the fact that I want to be monetized, we're going to stick with music related topics. So there might be some situations where there might be other things going on in the world, but I'm gonna keep it. Music primarily because there is a lot of things to talk about. There's different hot topics you can talk about, but for me, I'm a music producer. I'm also a DJ. 98% of my life is music related. So I'm gonna stay in my lane. And I had to learn that lesson the hard way because I was like, what? Which I'm not gonna go into because then I would be going into it. So but that being said, I'm gonna stick with music. Most of the people that follow the channel come to me because they like the fact that I DJ. So I don't think it should be a problem. I don't think it should be an issue. The fact that I'm gonna keep it music. Before we get into what we get into, I kind of want to share something with you guys. Those who come to see me very often, you'll know. Those who are brand new will find out. I have a merch store. Yes, the Mad Scientist merch, Mad Scientist shopping store. I sponsor myself because, well, I'm brand new and I don't have any larger sponsors, but that's okay because I like sponsoring myself. If you go to madscientistmusic.com and go to the shop, you will find my merch. I have really great hoodies. The hoodies are the most popular, I'll tell you that. The hoodies are the most popular. I also have a beanie. Now, some people have asked me, hey, when are you gonna do like a dad hat, a dad cap? Because I, wear caps a lot. Um, I am. I just gotta do it. I just gotta get the time to do it. For those who don't know, I'm in the middle of producing, mixing, and mastering an album for my good friend MC Johnny T. He will be releasing his album. I don't know the name of it, but he will be releasing his album very soon. So I'm in the middle of we've already done recording, mixing. I'm now mixing and mastering the album. And I'm not sure when it will be released, but I'll let you know. Okay. All that to say, that's why I don't have the dad cap yet, because I don't have time to go through that and get that done. A lot of you guys think can be done pretty quick, AI, blah blah blah. Yeah, but I need that time to actually get that done. And I don't have a team; it's me. Okay, I don't have producers; it's me. This show I have to write it. I have to do the research. I have to do the writing. I don't have interns yet. Okay, but I do have a DJ backpack. I have T-shirts. People really like the logo. They really, really like my logo. So get one of the logo shirts, and then also one of my old school Mad Scientist shirts. You can get one of those as well. The material is very good material. Um, I wear it and wash it. I wear these. Obviously, I wear my gear, wash them. I've washed them a couple times, and they keep their shape. And for that reason, I recommend that you get a size larger, especially if you get the hoodies, because they are a little fitted. Okay. But the good thing is, like I said, I've washed my hoodie a couple times and it's not all like raggedy all over the place. Like I don't have like a collar that's going down looking like crazy. So definitely check out my store and because I am the sponsor and I want the sponsor to get good results from the fact that they're sponsoring me. Okay. All right. That being said, let's go ahead and get into it because we got a long show today. We got a lot to talk about, and I don't want to run out of time. The first thing we're going to get into is the Cardi B album review. Okay. She just released her second studio album, Am I the Drama? It was released on September 19th by Atlantic Records. It serves as the follow up to her debut album, Invasion of Privacy, which came out in 2018. The album includes features from Summer Walker, Selena Gomez, Kalani, Lizzo, Cash Cobain, Lourdes, Janet Jackson, which is really not like a live singing Janet Jackson, just more of a sample of Janet Jackson, Tyler, and Megan Thee Stallion, which again, she added uh, WAP and Up. So Megan made the album just because she was on WAP. Um, there was no way. I don't think. I don't think Megan would have made this album just on like, hey, come be on my album. It would not have been like that. I think they're beefing right now. I'm not sure. I have to look it up, but they might even be beefing right now. So I don't know. Um, okay, the lead single for this album was Outside, and that was released on June 20th. And it was followed up by Imaginary Players, which was released on August 15th. The album reached top 10 on the US Billboard's top 100 and 27 on the Billboard Global 200. Okay, so the third single, Safe, featuring Kalani, was released on the same day as the album. Okay, the record also includes, the Hot 100 single WAP, which features Megan Thee Stallion and Up. Okay. It's already been certified platinum. Yes, it's already been certified platinum. For those who are confused about that, it's because she included WAP and Up on the album. So the fact that those are multi-platinum um, singles, this album is now um, certified platinum for real, for real. First week, everyone's projecting um like 150, between 180 and 250. Some people have said 300. I think that's kind of crazy, but I could be wrong. But we'll see what the first week numbers are. And she also has a um a distinction of being, well, I wanted to get it right. Um, Guinness Book of World Records, the most, okay, I guess Amazon will deliver the will deliver the song to you via drone. And she's got the most, yeah, here it is. Guinness World Record 2025, most deliveries by UAV drones in 1 hour. Okay. I didn't know that was a thing you could win a Guinness World Record on, but she has that Guinness World Record. Okay, the most UAV deliveries in 1 hour. In terms of the rollout, I think what the Clips have done for hip hop, they have officially RIP the drama filled rollout. And we're going to go back to a traditional rollout for hip hop. And a traditional rollout for hip hop, for those who are younger than 30, that's when you kind of went around to different media stops, different magazines. I got my Billboard magazine in the mail, and she had the cover. You go around to different media outlets. She's been to the Breakfast Club. She's been on, I believe she went to all the radio stations in New York. She also went to a couple notable podcasts. She went to go see Sway. I didn't listen to a lot of them because, frankly, I'm not really interested in the drama that she talked about or discussed. I'm not interested in her personal life or the beef she has with rappers. So I don't want to hear all that. I'm just more interested in the music itself. So I didn't listen to the interviews, but she went on the interview and then she did some pop-ups. Out here in California, she was in Long Beach at a record store called Footprints in Long Beach. She's actually showed up, or she's showing up. I gotta find the date. But she actually did a great job of rolling this out without all of the. Now, some people may say, yeah, but she went on and got pregnant. Uh, I don't think that she did that to roll out her album. I mean, who's going to bring a baby into the world just to say, I got an album coming out? Okay. I don't believe that. Now, most of you guys that know me know that I am a musician, I'm a producer, I'm also educated in music. So when I review an album, I'm not just giving you my thoughts, I'm actually breaking it down technically. And I have some criteria that I use for everyone. Okay. I use it for everyone. So I'm always fair, and I try as much as possible to be dispassionate. And what that means for those who like dispassionate, what you using English language? Yes, I'm using English. English, okay, UK English. Meaning, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you how I personally feel about the album based upon how I personally feel about the artist, which is which will be illustrated when I talk about Doja Cat. No matter what I feel about the artist, I'm going to give you pretty much, how what I see in the album, and then give you an overall review based upon the technicalities. And I'll put a little bit of like how I feel about it personally. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to discuss that. Okay. So that's the rules. That's pretty much what's going on with the album. That's the album description. I gave you the rules. All right. So now let's get into it. Um, Songwriting. I gave her an NA, a non-applicable. Okay, non-applicable. I gave her an NA. The reason why I gave her an NA is because I don't care what the credits say. I don't care what anybody says. I know she didn't write her own lyrics. Okay. And it's important to know that I'm only going to rate you if I know that you wrote your own lyrics, like you are a lyricist. Now, there's going to be some people who say, well, mad scientist. It says on here she has writing credit. All right. Um, spoiler alert for those who don't know. Hey, what's up, girl? How you doing? Erica, how you doing? Um, for those who don't know, you can get writing credit without actually writing. Okay. You can get writing credits without writing. And so, yes, if you look up the Wikipedia, it says that she wrote on the songs. But as someone who's in the industry, I know you can get writing credit without writing. Okay. And I'd have to be in the studio and actually witness her writing the lyrics for me to believe that she wrote the lyrics. Now, do I think that she had some input? Yeah, I think she had some input. But I think the person who wrote most of the lyrics is Partisan Fontaine, famously known as the ex-boyfriend of Megan the Stallion. That guy. He's a rapper, but he's more of a lyricist. He's like a ghostwriter. Okay, his name is Jordan Thorpe, and if you look at the writing credits for this album, he's on every song. Now, do I think that Cardi B has some input? Obviously. Okay, obviously she was like, yeah, well, I want to say this, I want to say that. I can see her doing that, but I don't think that she's a lyricist. I don't think she's sitting there like, yo, I'm gonna write this down and say it like this. And no, I don't believe that. So for lyrics, I pretty much gave her non-applicable. Okay. Rapping wise, which is something I normally don't add, but for Cardi B, because she doesn't write her lyrics, I say, okay, well, how good of a performer is she? Is she a great performer? And bar none, I think she's one of the better rappers, male or female. Okay. And like I said, like I keep saying, I'm a music producer. So the fact that rapping, I know that rapping is something that actually takes skill. Okay. And the fact that she's not consistently rapping all the time, she's able to pull it off. A really famous example of somebody who couldn't pull it off was Lil Wayne's recent album, where he's pretty much rusty as heck. You could tell like he's out of practice. He was out of breath behind the beat. He couldn't catch up. Most of his stuff was like simplistic, and everyone's listening to his album like this is not Lil Wayne. All right, well, with Cardi B, pretty much she was able to pull it off. And so I gave her a 10 on that. I gave her high marks on that. She's always been a good rapper. Her inflection, her tone, she's always had that as her superpower. And the fact that she doesn't write her lyrics, I mean, ultimately, I think that, well, I'll talk about that later. Um, Production wise, listen, if you are one of those people who thought that she was not going to have the best production and the best features, um, I don't know which planet you live on. I mean, I am a Cardi B fan, okay, but I'm not crazy. I mean, she's got a lot of money behind her. And I think if you felt like somehow she was not going to have everybody in the industry on that album, I mean, she has so many people on there, Kalani, and this is all production. You know, Summer Walker, Kalani, Selena Gomez, okay, Tyler. She's got Lizzo on there. Lizzo is the ultimate artist. Okay, she is the prince of our time. So if you thought that the production was not going to be a 10, like you're living in a different planet and somehow you don't understand how this game works. Okay. There's just certain things that are going to happen. When you go to McDonald's, it's going to taste like McDonald's every time. Now, you may not like McDonald's. You may think, like me, you may have your personal feelings about McDonald's, but McDonald's is going to be McDonald's every time. And that's the fact. So with Cardi B, you got to know the production's always going to be top notch. That's not even, a question. Okay. Relevance. Cultural relevance. Now, what I mean by cultural relevance is, you know, was this album just going to be some generic pop release or generic hip hop release, just throwing songs together? Or was it going to be something that kind of like says, okay, I know who my core audience is, and I'm going to give them what I know that they want. And I think this album did a really great job of doing it. Now, the people that I rely on, there's some people that I rely on to know because she's a New York rapper. And at the same time, she, she lived a whole life in the strip club. And that's an actual in hip hop, that's an actual, I don't want to call it a genre, but it's an actual place to release music. All right, strip clubs. And the music that gets released to strip clubs is going to be totally different than music that's released to clubs, nightclubs, where I'm at. And it's going to be totally different than music that's released mainly to radio, where I'm also at. So I'm looking at when I'm listening to this album and I know her background, I'm asking myself, did she hit her core audience? Did she give them what they're asking for? Because essentially, that's what you're tasked at doing. And I gave her a 9 on that because I felt like she was, she is a New York based rapper. I don't know where she lives now. I think maybe in Atlanta, but she's a New York rapper. Culturally, she's a New York rapper. And she's from the strip clubs. And I felt like, I specifically went to Joe Budden to hear what they had to say. Side note, if if you want to hear a real review, you don't go to Joe Budden podcast. I'm a big fan of Joe Budden's podcast, but I know the difference when they're giving a real review and when they got the bag. And I can pretty much tell you they delivered the bag to Cardi when when the Joe Budden podcast gave their review. And pretty much they're just gonna they glazed on it. And I mean, and if you listen to Joe Budden a lot like I do, then you know when they're glazing. And they said, hey, we're glazing. So it's not like they lied about it. They said they were glazing. Um, yeah, Erica, she is strategic. She was very strategic. This was a very strategic album, which I'm gonna say for the most part, overall, I gave her an 8. Okay. Now, why did I give her an 8? I think artists of her caliber, they're always going to come in at an 8. She's signed to a major record label and she's going to come in at an 8. They're going to make sure it's too much money that they're going to spend. And they're going to make sure that before they release that project, unlike Lil Wayne, I was really shocked and surprised, but I think everybody was shocked and surprised. Um, But outside of Lil Wayne, if you're signed to a major record label, you're gonna come in with an 8. That's just the bottom line. Um, Now, why did I stop at 8? Primarily, I'm seeing now that what her team is trying to do is reposition her. What do I mean by that? They're trying to take her out of the ratchet, room, right? If you were to imagine different rooms, right? You got the ratchet room, right? That's where she started and that's where she's been. And I think they got together and they said, we want to take her out of the ratchet room and put her into a different space. Now, she's not going to go into the traditional hip hop. That's Nicki. Nicki's got that all day. And Nicki Minaj is a traditional hip hop artist that transitions over into pop. But Nicki Minaj, for the most part, is a hip hop artist. And because Cardi does not write her own lyrics, she can't thrive in that room. So then you got the pop room, the hip hop artist that's a pop room. And I think they wanted to put her in there. But I will tell you right now, Doja Cat, we're going to talk about next, is killing that room. And the thing about Doja Cat and the problem that Cardi B is always going to come up against is Cardi B doesn't write her own lyrics. Doja Cat's been writing lyrics. Whether you like Doja Cat or not, Doja Cat's been writing her own lyrics, performing her own lyrics, being artistic in her own voice since a little child. Okay. She's been creating in that space. So when even taking Cardi B out of that ratchet room and putting her into more of a pop, it's putting her against some of the best uh, lyricists, um, theatrical artists. Doja Cat has theatrical artistry in her background. Not only can she write the songs, but she can act it out. She can become characters. she can change who she is in that moment of the song. Um, Cardi B can't do that. She doesn't have that skill. So if Cardi B were to just stay in that ratchet room, I probably would have gave her a 9, but in that she didn't deliver a lot of those ratchet songs like, Ski. She didn't deliver those raunchy, ratchet songs that I could play in the nightclubs. Can't really give her that 9 because I know that she's been repositioned. I know that now that she's in this pop space, that she's just not going to thrive as well as those like, a Doja Cat, who's going to be able to do that, pull it off, and say, you know what, this is how you do it. So I gave her an 8. I don't know. You guys just tell me what you guys think about it. I think my biggest disappointment overall is that, and this is, I'm being selfish. I'll be honest with you. I'm being totally selfish. I was looking for something that I could play in the club, and I don't have anything that I could play in the club. And I especially was looking for something Spanish I could play in the club. I'm out here in California, and we have a big, Latin community. Mostly Mexicans, but they listen to reggaeton. They listen to some salsa if it's Bad Bunny. Selfishly, I wanted that from her. I think that that's something that she can deliver, and she didn't do it. Um, so that was my biggest disappointment, but that's pretty much because I'm a DJ. Now, she does have the one song Bodega. What is it called? I want to make sure I get the name right. Something Bodega. Okay. Bodega Baddie, right? She does have that song, and I think they'll probably remix it. And I'll be waiting for those remixes. But for the most part, I wanted some more Spanish music. Because I don't see Cardi as just a hip hop artist. Yes, my reviews are always going to be based upon my musical background. Okay, my musical education. I'm not sitting up here just trying to glaze somebody. Like, I'm not getting bags. At the same time, not trying to get clicks like that. Or I'm just trying to trash somebody just to get clicks. Um, So whenever I give my reviews, it's based upon real reality of how I use the music, how I consume the music. Um, and then I'll give you a little bit of my personal view. Personally, I'm not going to be listening to this album. I mean, because it's hard for me to listen to a hip hop album knowing that you didn't write the lyrics. Okay, so I don't feel it like that. At the same time, there's nothing that I can really use to work with it. Now I'm gonna play it on the radio station because I gotta play it. Okay, so I'm gonna be playing her music. I'm gonna probably download it tonight, start playing it tomorrow, put it in rotation. Okay. But outside of that, and I'll be waiting for the remixes. You know, she may do some house remixes, she may do some Spanish remixes. We'll see. But outside of that, like, I'm really not gonna be consuming the album. But from technically, and I say technically, it's a good album. And there's, I don't think her fans are going to be disappointed, and I think it's going to sell. Okay, and now I do play Up, but even though it's on the album, Up is on the album. I don't connect Up to this album. I play Up all the time. I still play Up. I'll be playing Up this weekend. Okay, so I will play Up. Um, all right. That being said, speaking of what I'll be doing this weekend, just want to let you guys know. Got the DJ Mad Scientist Friday Night Hype every Friday night. If you are in California, if you're in the Long Beach area, come on out, come see me, hit me up on my Instagram. Let me know you're coming through. I'll get you in free. It's Friday Night Hype at Agave Ultra Lounge in the city of Long Beach. It's free before 11 on the guest list. I'll be free before 12 on my guest list. And we do mostly hip hop from 99 to like early 2000s. and we do bangers, club bangers, and everything else. I'll be closing this weekend. So if you are in town, make sure you come through. I really appreciate that. All right. Doja Cat. Doja Cat. The black white supremacist. She is so problematic for me. She is so problematic for me. Primarily because I get a lot. I'm a fan of Doja Cat, and I get a lot of flack for being a fan of Doja Cat because she is a black white supremacist. And I just have to take it, you know, because she has a very good team behind her. I'll be honest with you. And I'm such a musicologist that, she's got, such a really great team. And I'm such a musicologist. It's hard for me to be like, to hate her. And the fact is, she's a very good artist. So I want to let you guys know, I'm not going to go too much into, everything else, all the drama, not trying to do all that. But Doja Cat is coming out with a new release. It's called V, September 26th. That's this Friday. Um, this album is produced by Jack. I can't say his name. Antonoff. Jack Antonoff. I know who he is. It's just Antonoff. I have a hard time with this name. So Jack Antonoff and Y2K. Okay. It's the fifth studio album by American rapper and singer Doja Cat, scheduled to be released on September 26, 2025. The album features Doja's return to pop music with themes of love, romance, and sex, and is 80s inspired. It was recorded in a 3-year period at Marival Studios, based in Correns, France. The album's lead single, Jealous, was released on August 21st. I'm sorry, Jealous Type. All right. So her album's coming out. I will say this. Look, and I think it's important to understand. Doja Cat is an artist. Now, what she does, what happens with her personal life and how she conducts herself, I can separate that from her. There are other artists that I do the same thing that are very problematic. I do the same thing with them. Um, so I do that with Doja Cat. So a lot of people give me a hard time because she considers herself a hip hop artist, and I agree. Her last project was essentially a hip hop, and I'm laughing because I'll tell you why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I produce music for lyricists, people who consider themselves real hip hop heads. And so when I say to them that Doja Cat is a hip hop artist, they just totally just don't want to hear that. But her last project, Scarlet 2, was a hip hop project. Okay. I mean, that's just a fact. And you got to go, if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's a good project. And I know she's problematic, and I get it. At the end of the day, it's like, I'm black. So do I want to hear her rants, her anti-black rants? No, I don't. But I'm able to separate the music from her personal politics. And because she does a really great job at what she does, I'm okay with that. Here's where the problem is going to be is when you have Cardi B trying to enter her space, because Doja can be way more artistic. She can be way more creative. And if Cardi B decides she wants to move into that space with Doja Cat, I think Cardi B is going to have to really start putting some work in. I mean, this album by Doja Cat V was a 3-year project. Okay, that's 3 years. For songwriting, for production, 3 years is a long time. And, Jack He's very intentional. Like Jack is one of those deep dive guys. Jack is one of those guys that I could listen to talk for hours, and he's going to deep dive into cables. Okay, studio cables. He'll deep dive into it. And when you're dealing with people like that, who they obsess over every aspect of the music, it's very hard to just pop into the studio and be like, all right, hey, give me a beat, give me some lyrics, let me rap it out. It's very hard. You're just not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to compete with that. And I know the difference between someone who has spent time, in a space being creative, who is intentional at the same time, peeling back once they put all their intentions in there, all of their, creative ideas in there, they can peel stuff back to the point where a song just feels good, it sounds good and feels good. I can tell the difference between that and someone who basically, got a beat CD, got a bunch of beats and some A&Rs like, okay, they all kind of sound alike. And then, somebody else is writing, and then Cardi B will come in and probably say, well, I would say it like this. Can you say it like that? And then and the writer, Partisan Fontaine, he comes in and he says, okay, I'm gonna make it rhyme. Okay. I can tell the difference. And so Doja Cat will probably be more of a problem with Cardi B than she will be with people who really, really love music. Now, I will say this: I don't like the first release by by Doja Cat, but I'll be honest with you, I don't like the fact that she's doing an '80s theme. And it kind of makes sense because you know who she is. She's born in the '90s, and she's gonna be thinking like, "Oh, how was it to experience the '80s?" And she's with Jack, and Jack is all into the synthesizers and programming things like that. So I get it. I'm just waiting for the time where she just goes totally deep dive into hip hop. I really want her to do a traditional hip hop album, but she has to go back to pop and do all that, make money for the for the record label. I get it, and she would have to literally have a come to Jesus moment with the hip hop community just because of how she's represented herself in order for her to really do a hip hop album. And I get that. But that's what I want personally. Okay. All right. I'm looking at the time. I have another subject that I want to go into, that I think is pretty much really, really important. And I want to give everybody information. Um, Xania Monet. Okay, now I'm gonna read this article. It's not long, but I'm gonna read this article. It's written by Billboard magazine. Okay, and the reason I'm reading this article is because I want you guys. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and I want you guys to know the actual information so that you can then make a determination of how you want to judge this situation. And there's so many people out there talking about it but not really giving all the information. And the information has to come from an artistic point of view. It has to also come from a legal point of view, and it also has to come from a business point of view. Now, I'm gonna tell you off the top, I'm not a fan of AI artists. I've listened to her music, and whenever I have yet to hear an AI artist that I'm like, oh yeah, I'll listen to that. They're just not, in my opinion, and I want to tell you up front. My opinion is I have not seen anybody, including this artist, that is good. And the biggest reason why I think they'll never be that good is because part of us judging music is the cultural relevance. Does it touch us culturally? Like Cardi B has a song called Up. Okay. That song and the fact that it's called Up makes no sense in the English language. Okay. When it's up, then it's up. Okay. And she's not talking now. Is she talking about fighting? She's talking about broke guys don't deserve no, you know what, the song. How do you make all that connection? AI is not going to be able to make that connection. AI is never going to be able to say, okay, this is what is going to be said by the culture. It can only react to what's already been done. So by the time AI gets it, our culture in hip hop and pop and R&B, no matter what genre you're in, that culture moves second by second. Somebody can come up with something, and I don't know if you guys heard that, but somebody can come up with an idea, a song, a lyric, put it out, and all of a sudden that idea, that song, that lyric explodes, and nobody saw it coming. Lil Nas X, his first single, nobody saw that coming. Okay, that was put out by some unknown artist at the time, and he put it out, and it just caught on, and nobody saw that coming. That was a cultural phenomenon that happened between hip hop and cult and country. AI is not predictive. It can't say, you know what, I think I want to do this. Let me try it. AI does not put out music and it fails and it fails and it fails and it learns and it fails and it learns. AI does not sit there. Most artists that you know make music seriously, like me, I've been messing with music since I was 5. I got a picture, I have a cousin who has a picture of me where I'm like trying to play music. And at the time, my parents thought it was so cute that I'm trying to play music on an old record player, and I'm 5 years old. AI was not 5 years old trying to play music. So the fact that I'm a DJ makes perfect sense to my older cousin. Okay. AI was not doing that. Beyonce, I'm pretty sure her parents were telling her perform in front of everybody, perform in front of everybody since she was 2. AI has not been performing in front of their cousins and aunties and everybody else since the age of 2. So AI can never look out. Like when I DJ, I look out to the crowd and I see their faces, and I can judge little things like, like if I have a brunch, and I always know when to change the vibe if I see people stomping their feet. Not stomping, but like their toes just going up and down. Okay. I know I'm doing a great job if I see somebody put a drink in the air. Okay. That's their vibe. And I know when to make these changes. AI can never predict that. So AI is never going to be in a position where it can deliver consistently something that touches our soul. Okay. Famous story. And then I'll go into, this Xania Monet. We all know, if you're a musician, you know the album by Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. Okay. He created that album because he had a conversation with his brother who was in the Vietnam War and came home. Okay. That was a conversation that he was having with his brother, who's probably experiencing PTSD. Okay. And all kind of other, mental health issues because he was in war. And he had, Marvin Gaye had the conversation, and because he had that conversation, an album was born. AI can never do that. AI can't have a conversation and feel empathy or sympathy or have any kind of feeling. So when people say that AI could possibly take over, I'm not in that camp. I don't believe it. Now, I see where Erica says, I use it as a tool. I think, yes, it can be used as a tool, but ultimately, outside of being a tool, and we've already been using AI, we've already been using digital tools to make music. That's been a thing. When someone says, I mixed this song in the box, they mean that they have mixed this song inside of a computer with plugins, and they have AI assisted plugins that do equalization, AI assisted plugins that master. Okay. And I can tell you, as a music producer, I bought, and then I want to get into the story, but I bought an AI. equalizer because I hate equalizing vocals, right? And I can pretty much tell you that that AI equalizer sucks. I'm not going to say the name, but it sucks. It doesn't EQ what the way I need it. So I have to EQ it myself. I just have to slow it down and EQ the vocals myself, even though I hate it. So I just don't think that AI is going to be, or AI artists are going to take over. Are they going to be there because some people are going to create them? Yes, they're going to be there. All right, let me get into the story because I'm running out of time. AI powered artist Xania Monet songs have racked up more than 17 million total on-demand streams in the US since her Suno crafted R&B tracks were released about 2 months ago, according to Illuminate. Monet, the creation of 31-year-old Mississippi-based person, says woman, but I'm just saying a person, Talisha Jones, who used AI to craft Monet's image and Suno to make the music, was signed to a multi-million-dollar record deal by the independent music company Hallwood Media last week after a bidding war roped in several labels, one of which offered as much as $3 million. Using industry data from RIAA, Luminate, and other financial sources at the major and indie labels to estimate how much money a song makes per audio and video stream, digital download, and airplay. Billboard estimates Monet songs have generated more than $50,000 in less than 2 months. But how much of that Jones's, Monet's human creator, or Hallwood Media may be able to collect is less clear. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article. You can always go to Billboard and read the whole article. But I wanted to point out some certain things. Number one, this AI character was created by a human, Talisha Jones, not by a record label. Okay, so a human, and she used an AI image and Suno. Okay, so it's a person like us, a creative that said, I'm going to write the lyrics. And what she did, she claimed she wrote the lyrics. And what happens with Suno is, because I used Suno one time and I was like, it kind of sucks, right? But what she did essentially was she wrote the lyrics, and then you can put the lyrics into this AI music generator, tell it what kind of style you want. You can tell it everything you want about the song, and it will create a song based upon, the lyrics that you write and, how you describe the song. Now, I used Suno one time to see how good it works. And I would tell you, it's not the future that you think it's going to be, primarily because I told it to make a certain tempo, because I know the tempo I need. It was not able to write the song in the correct tempo. I told it what key I needed, was not able to write it in the right key. It just kind of, you tell it, oh, I want an Afro beat, and it's going to put out what it thinks is Afrobeat. I let a DJ hear my creation, my Afrobeat remix. I let him hear it, and I asked him what he thought. Now, this guy has been listening to Afrobeat for a long time. In fact, he's Nigerian. Okay, so he knows his Afrobeat, and he says, "Oh, it sounds good," which I agree, because sound good means everything is on key. It has the right chord progressions. But he was like, "Yeah, but there's a lot of missing elements because AI does not know what the elements are. AI is not Nigerian. And a lot of times music changes so fast. Okay. You went from Afrobeat to I'm a piano. And the song that I got that was Afrobeat, I said I wanted to be Afrobeat. It sounded more I'm a piano because AI doesn't know the difference between South Africa, I'm a piano, and Nigerian Afrobeat. So I kind of wanted to go ahead and just kind of just dispel all the myths so we understand what's going on. First and foremost, it is a real person that created Xania Monet. I listen to the music. I'll be honest with you, and this is no dig at anything. This is no dig at anybody and their singing style, but Suno hasn't mastered the black voice. Whenever you tell it to make a rap song, it sounds like a white guy trying to sound black. And when you tell it to make a song, like an R&B song, it sounds like a white chick trying to sing black. And I can hear the difference. I've been listening to black women sing my entire life. I know what a black woman sounds like. Okay. I've listened in the church. I've listened my entire life. How I know what a black woman's voice sounds like. And Xania Monet's voice does not sound black to me. Yes, I know the character looks black, but it does not sound like a black woman. So at the end of the day, um, I just don't think it's gonna get pulled off. I think here's the most important thing. Two most important things. Number two, he does own the rights because the law allows you to copyright AI assisted music. Now, if you just get AI creating the lyrics, the music, and everything, you cannot copyright that. There's no money in that. But if you write the lyrics and then AI does everything else, then yeah, you can copyright it. And because we're talking about a global um, market, music is a global market, it's not regional. So it doesn't matter if I think Xania Monet sounds black. You know who doesn't know what a black woman sounds like? The billions of people in China, the hundreds of millions of people all across Asia. They don't know what a black woman sounds like. They look at the music, they're like, she must be black. And they are probably going to accept it. So you have to think music now being a global market and she can own it. All she's doing is just leveraging what, you know, some record label executive thinks the song will generate globally. It may not do any, I don't think it's going to do anything in the US because the US market is hard for real people. So coming in with the AI generated character, like I'm assuming by the name that the owner is from Mississippi and her last name is Jones. I'm assuming this is a black woman, Talisha Jones. That just sound like a black woman to me. And so, she created a black woman character, so she might get a little grace, but I really doubt that you'll have some white guy coming out of California being able to create these black characters and then be able to sell it in the American market. That guy will get blasted. Okay, the black community will will just boycott that whole attempt. So for those who are so concerned about this AI thing happening, for the most part, I think you just kind of, either you are not knowledgeable about music or you're just trying to get clicks. And I get it. This discussion will get clicks. I get it. I understand that. Or you just are not that talented. Now, I know Kalani has come out and said it was an insult, but Kalani, I would say to Kalani, I think you're way more talented to be worried about. Like, Xania Monet is not going to be able to even be Cardi B or Doja Cat or any other artist that's really Nicki Minaj. She's not going to be able to compete against any real artist out here who can really actually touch people. All right. We're going to go into the last. I want to thank everybody who came through today. Erica, you're always here with me. I appreciate you holding it down. Like, you're like my first, my jump off, but not the jump off. I don't want to make it sound weird, but you know what I mean. I'm here every Wednesday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. For those who are new, come on through. Just know I don't do any of the crazy, like, clickbaity stuff. I try to keep it like technical, but exciting and entertaining at the same time. I don't want to be giving lectures every week. All right. So the last thing we're gonna be talking about, and we're gonna get out of here. JT of the City Girls versus Cardi B. Now, if you've listened to the Cardi B album, you know um, that JT got dissed. And JT, according to TMZ, JT and Cardi B been going after it. Um, just reading the TMZ article, City Girls, JT has broken her silence on Cardi B. Ether Fuel Magnet diss track. It was a very good diss track, but again, I know Cardi B didn't write it. Aimed at herself and Little Uzi Vert with her own fire and brimstone. She's lumping Stefan Diggs into the drama. I'm not going to read the whole article, but essentially, JT is calling Stefan gay, undercover gay. I don't care. At the same time, JT is, I mean, they're just going back and forth on Twitter. You guys can go to it if you like. Lil Uzi Vert, I mean, he was famous for wearing dresses and carrying bags. So, you know, Cardi B's diss was entertaining. I mean, her writers did write some good disses. So if you're into that kind of stuff, go ahead and listen to it. My opinion, look, I've been a fan of JT and the City Girls since their first album, primarily because I could play it in the clubs. But I was one of the few people that actually liked their second album better. It was produced by Southside, who's a notorious club, like he writes club music. Southside writes club music. He writes music for DJs. I'm a DJ. So, yeah, their second album to me should have been considered one of the best albums of 2020. Unfortunately, we had the pandemic and we had the George Floyd. So it was like it got swept under the rug. Like it wasn't even under the rug. It was like under the floorboards. It was like under the house. Like, you know how you crawl under the house? Like you'll find that album under the house, right? Just because we had so many things going on at that time. But that album is a good album. And unlike Cardi B, JT actually writes. She is a real rapper. Okay. She is a real lyricist. And I know it's a weird space for women who rap because, you know, it's like the only ones that get recognition most of the time are the women who are just ratchet, 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 ratchet. Like Sexy Red is just full time, 100% ratchet. Funny story, I was DJing last week and I ended up playing two by accident. I ended up playing two Sexy Red songs back to back. The crowd went crazy. Okay. Crowd went crazy. It was like JT is a mix between Sexy Red and Rhapsody. She can rap like Rhapsody, but she can get ratchet. She's a city girl, like Sexy Red. And I know her last project didn't do as well, but here's the deal. She is good enough of a rapper to respond to Cardi B on music. Charlemagne the God said it this morning, and I totally agree. JT needs to just write a response. So, JT, if you hear me talk about this, I want you to know, write a response. I got your back. Okay. I know it's going to be hard to find a producer that will do it for you, that will write the beat. Go to Southside. Y'all like, you know, squash your beef, get with Southside, come back with a diss track for Cardi B. I think it'll be fun to watch. All right, y'all. That's it for the week. I'm about to get up out of here. I want to thank everybody who came through today. I will see y'all next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Standard Pacific Time with music-related hot takes simply because I want my videos to be monetized. Yes. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Peace out.